All right, welcome to our biblical story series based off of the series of blogs I've been writing and storyofgrace.org. And Brenda and I are going to be talking about the blogs on how not to misread and misunderstand the Bible. And so this will be the first in a series of 3 that we're recording. We'll have more that will be forthcoming, but having said that, we'll turn the discussion over to Brendan.
All right, and I think this question hits home with a lot of Christians, and it's why do so many people doubt the Bible? Why is that such a prominent thing in our culture today?
Well, I think the biggest reason people are doubting the Bible is they don't understand it. And so they read all kinds of sections or verses not within its storyline or not as it was meant to be understood by the original readers. And they look at particular verses and think, how could this be good, or how could this be a positive thing? So I quote, Penn Jillette, who had stated that reading the Bible is a fast track to atheism. And so a lot of people look at maybe some of the violence in the Bible or particular laws related to family or slavery or things like that. Polygamy, yes. And they're like, this is not a book, it's outdated, it's regressive, it's even dangerous or oppressive.
All right. And kind of piggybacking off of that, could there be any truth to the claims that the Bible is outdated? Is there anything, since the Bible was written by a multitude of ancient authors in a different, way different culture than the West, could there be any truth that some of it is outdated and is not applicable to our lives today?
Well, there's truth in the sense that where it's outdated, the Bible claims that it's outdated. I was just discussing a particular Bible passage with a young man who I've been discipling just a few moments ago, and we were reading in Acts 11 where Peter had the vision of the food coming down from heaven. And it was all kinds of animals that were forbidden to be eaten from the laws in Leviticus 11 in particular. And so Peter was given the revelation, now kill and eat, because it's now clean in the new covenant. So it's outdated. What is outdated is only that which the Bible has declared itself to be outdated. It's not because at the time it was written, it was coming from a primitive or uneducated or kind of regressive culture. But even the stuff that is no longer applicable or is outdated has incredible spiritual lessons for us nonetheless, though we may not apply it to our particular daily life.
Right. I think a lot of people who make the claim that the Bible is outdated, they don't understand that we're under the New Testament covenant, the blood of Christ, and that's completely different from the Mosaic covenant that the Israelites were under before, in like the Pentateuch, for example. So
right.
It's important to read the Bible in context. I think that's where a lot of confusion comes from.
Yes.
Speaking of the Bible, I think you made a very interesting comment that the Bible is like a library in your blog. Can you explain that to me a little bit more?
Well, people in approaching the Bible make the mistake that it's like one book. And so they go to it like a how-to manual of how to live your life or how to obey or follow God. And it's not like that. It's 66 books written over a period of 1,500 years by over 40 different authors. And they were writing on 3 different continents and all different types of cultures and settings under all kinds of circumstances, addressing situations. So depending on where you're going to read is going to be vital for how you interpret. So part of the Bible is laws. It's the laws of God from the Old Testament. And you need to understand what those laws are and how they're relevant. Part of it is poetry. The Psalms or the wisdom literature of Proverbs or Ecclesiastes, it's very inspirational. Some of it's just historical, going back to Genesis or looking at Kings or Judges or those types of things which show the history of Israel. Others are Gospels. The Gospels are written to proclaim the works and deeds of Jesus Christ. Others are letters written by the apostles to the churches at a particular occasion. Others are apocalyptic, like Daniel or Revelation, that kind of reveal to us the future, that open up that which is hidden. That's what apocalypse means, to open up that which is hidden. Others are prophetic, the prophetic authors. And so those, understanding those different authors and why they were writing and the type of style that they were using, is very important for understanding the Bible.
Yeah, I think people need to understand that just because the Bible has different types of literature within it, like you said, poetry, wisdom, history, that does not make the reading of the Bible inauthentic in that, oh, we're reading this one this way, we're reading this one this way, and another one this way. We do that all the time in normal life anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not going to read Lord of the Rings the same way we read our grocery receipt. We're just
Exactly.
not going to.
Right. If you go to a library and you go to the poetry section, it's going to read very different than you would if you go to the fiction section or the mythology or something of, or the history or the philosophy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They all read very differently. Or yes, if you read the title deed to your vehicle or whatever, all of those are different styles to communicate different things. And so God in His wisdom communicates His revelation to us through a lot of different means that are going to be helpful and have a lot of different benefits and contours and shades of meaning to them.
And I found this interesting. I want to explore the different types of literature within the Bible a little bit more. So there's a whole bunch: wisdom, poetry, gospel. Would you say there's any one that is more important for the believer to read than another? So it's like gospel more important to read than law, or law more important to read than poetry?
Well, they're all equally inspired. They are all equally truthful. But in terms of your journey, obviously the height of the Bible is the Gospels. Jesus Christ, as the Word became flesh, He is the height of the biblical story. So that's going to have more importance than, shall we say, the book of Leviticus with all of the ceremonial laws of the Old Testament. However, you're not going to be able to fully understand who Jesus is and what He did, because it is built upon the laws in Leviticus. He is the sacrificial fulfillment. He is the one that those laws were ultimately pointing to, that Paul says those laws were a shadow of the things to come. Jesus Christ is the reality. And so, but to fully understand that reality, you've got to go back to the laws of the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one way to look at it. It's all equally inspired. It's all equally true. But yes, some of it is going to be more relevant to us in our practical life, and it's meant to be that way.
Right. The Bible is the continual story of Christ. He's the main character of the story, and every book of the Bible is going to relate back to Him in some way. The Old Testament will be leading up to Him, and the New Testament will be Him, and then the ministry that's set into effect after He was there on earth. And also, I mean, heck, you can read Leviticus now and just be thankful that we don't got to do that stuff anymore because of Christ. I mean, I'm sure I'm wearing clothing of different materials right now, so we can admit, you can still read it and be thankful. There's still utility in it. Thank you for joining Anthony and I today on the Biblical Story video series. Please subscribe to the Crossroads CCO YouTube channel, like, and share this video. Until next time.